Hello my dear viewers, welcome to my channel Agriculture with Sami once again. And in this video we'll be learning about one more nutrient use efficiency parameters, and that is physiological efficiency. So what is this physiological efficiency? So the last video, if you have seen, we have gone through the agronomical efficiency. So agronomical efficiency is the additional grain yield, whereas physiological efficiency is the additional biological yield produced. So what do you mean by biological yield of a crop? So the biological yield signifies the grain yield and the straw yield of the particular crop. So when we calculate the grain yield and the straw yield and mix it together, the data, we call it as the biological yield of that crop. So here in this physiological efficiency, we will know that how much extra amount of biological yield that we have obtained from the particular crop with different application of certain amount of nutrients. So suppose we are applying a different nutrition, like somewhere we are applying no fertilizers at all, and somewhere we are applying more amount of fertilizers or 50 kgs of fertilizers. So to know the difference of the physiological efficiency, that how efficient is the fertilizer that we have applied, okay, so how much is the fertilizer utilized, to know that we have to calculate the physiological efficiency of that crop. So this is the reason behind calculating physiological efficiency, because we have to know how much efficiently the fertilizer has put an effect on the grain and straw yield of that particular crop. So in this video we will be learning and going through a problem, and we will be solving it, and we will know how to calculate the physiological efficiency of a particular crop. So suppose if you are given a question in your exams, like or if you have got a yield in your plot, agriculture plot, like so suppose here you have applied nutrient, okay, nutrient applied, so you have got a grain yield, okay, and you have got a straw yield, okay, and you have calculated the nitrogen or the nutrient uptake. Suppose you have calculated the nutrient uptake of grain, and you have calculated the total nutrient uptake of straw, okay, right guys. So suppose we have two plots, okay, we have taken two plots, and if you have applied 0 kg per hectare of fertilizer in plot 1, okay, let's divide this into plot 1 and plot 2, okay. Suppose we have applied 0 kg per hectare of fertilizer, and here if you applied 20 kg per hectare of fertilizer, any kind of fertilizer, maybe nitrogen, maybe potassium, maybe sulfur, maybe phosphorus. So now we have got a grain yield of suppose 1000 kg per hectare, okay, and in this 20 kg of application of fertilizer, we have got suppose a 2000 kg, okay. So in straw yield, suppose we have got, generally the straw yield comes doubling the grain yield, so more amount of straw is obtained generally from than the grain yield. Suppose we have got 2000 kg per hectare of straw yield from 0, okay, and suppose we have got suppose we have got 3000, okay, suppose we have got 3000 amount of straw yield from the 20 kg application. And when you calculate the nitrogen uptake of the grain, putting the certain formulas, so for nitrogen uptake you can go to the 55 number video on my channel where we have calculated the nitrogen uptake. So how to calculate the nitrogen uptake, you can learn from my video of nitrogen uptake in grain and straw, okay. Please watch that video to learn how to calculate the nitrogen uptake of grain and straw. So nitrogen, suppose you have got a nitrogen uptake of so this will be also kg per hectare, this will be also kg per hectare units, okay. So suppose you have got a nitrogen uptake of 50 kg per hectare, suppose, and suppose here you have got a nitrogen uptake of 200 kg from the grain, and from here if you have got if you have got 30, okay, generally the nitrogen uptake of straw remains less, and suppose you have got 100, because this is the fertilized plot, so we have got a little more values than the unfertilized plot. So now we need to calculate the physiological efficiency. Okay, we have to calculate the physiological efficiency. So what is this physiological efficiency? So before calculating this physiological efficiency, we have a formula of physiological efficiency which says that physiological efficiency is equal to the biological yield in the nutrient applied plot and the biological yield in the unfertilized plot. Okay, in the fertilized plot and in the unfertilized plot, or the nutrient applied plot, divided with the nitrogen uptake in the fertilized plot minus nitrogen uptake in the unfertilized plot. So with this formula we can calculate the physiological efficiency of a particular crop or particular land. So this physiological efficiency determines the biological yield. Okay, this is the biological yield in the fertilized plot minus biological yield in the unfertilized plot, with the nutrient applied or the fertilized plot, nutrient uptake in the fertilized plot of both the grain and straw, and the nutrient uptake of unfertilized plot. So how to calculate the biological yield first? So this is the most important thing, how to calculate the biological yield. So the biological yield can be calculated simply by biological yield. Suppose we have to calculate the biological yield of this fertilized plot. So biological yield of fertilized plot is equal to, it is the addition or it is the sum of biological yield is the sum of grain yield plus straw yield. So grain yield is, we have got 2000 kgs per hectare plus 3000 kgs per hectare. So this is equal to 5000 kgs per hectare. Biological yield of fertilized plot. Okay, biological yield of fertilized plot. Okay, this is the first one. So here I have marked it as 1. Okay, as A. Okay, so this is the first one we have calculated. Now we have to calculate the biological yield of unfertilized plot. So this is our unfertilized plot. Okay, unfertilized plot, let me not confuse, unfertilized plot. Okay, so how can we calculate the biological unfertilized plot? Is grain yield plus straw yield, like 1000 plus 2000 is equal to 3000 kgs per hectare. So now we have to apply the total nitrogen uptake in the fertilizer plot. Okay, total nitrogen uptake minus the total in the unfertilized plot. So the total nitrogen uptake in the fertilized plot is, see, 200 plus 100 grain yield. Suppose the total nitrogen uptake in the fertilized plot will be this plus this, grain uptake plus straw uptake. So this is 200 plus 100 is equal to 300 kg per hectare. Okay, and here the total nitrogen uptake in the unfertilized plot. So this is the unfertilized plot, and this unfertilized plot, the total nitrogen uptake is grain uptake plus straw uptake. Uptake of unfertilized plot will be equal to 50 plus 30. This is equal to 80 kgs per hectare. Fine guys. So understand, biological yield of fertilized plot is grain yield plus straw yield of the fertilized applied plot. Biological yield of unfertilized plot is grain yield plus biological of unfertilized plot. Total nitrogen uptake of fertilized plot is total nitrogen uptake of grain plus nitrogen uptake of straw in the fertilized plot. Total nitrogen uptake in the unfertilized plot is total nitrogen uptake of grain plus total nitrogen uptake of straw. So by this formula we have got all the values. So now the physiological efficiency can be easily calculated by putting this formula. So putting this formula, we can say physiological efficiency will be equals to the biological yield of fertilized plot is 5000 minus biological yield of unfertilized plot is 3000 divided with total nitrogen uptake in the fertilized plot. In the fertilized plot is 300 minus the total nitrogen uptake in the unfertilized plot. Here it is 80. So here we can get 2000 divided by 220. So this, solving this, we can get the physiological efficiency, and the value is kg per kg. Okay, so whatever we get, this will be in kg per kg. So this is the unit of physiological efficiency, and this is how, putting the formula, we can calculate. If we solve this, we will get nearby like 2 11s, 200s, 9%. Okay, 9 kg per kg. So our physiological efficiency is 9. So more is the physiological efficiency, more efficient has been the crop production. So this is the formula by which we can calculate the physiological efficiency of a particular crop. So first we have to calculate biological yield, then we have to calculate the of the both the fertilized and unfertilized plot, then we have to calculate the nitrogen uptake in the fertilized and unfertilized plot. We have to add it, and then we have to put this formula where physiological efficiency is equals to biological yield of fertilized plot minus biological yield of unfertilized plot. Okay, this minus this two minus this two. Okay, let me put here C for not your confusion. You can mark these tag marks what I have done here. You can find it out for if you have any confusion with these letters, what is being added, you can get it. Okay, divided with the total nitrogen uptake in the fertilized plot minus total nitrogen uptake in the unfertilized plot. So with this formula you can get the physiological efficiency of the particular crop. So guys, thank you for watching my video with patience. Keep learning, liking and sharing my videos. Thank you for your patience.